What's up everyone, how's it going? Simon here from CD Revival with another discography ranking, and today's a turn of the band Alice in Chains. A couple of different iterations of the band, obviously with the original vocalist Layne Staley, who unfortunately passed away in 2002, and they didn't release another album. Well, between the fourth album and the fifth album, it was like a 14-year gap when they returned with new sort of vocalist slash guitarist William Duval. Great band, seeing them live on the Dirt tour with Layne Staley. They were, yeah, fantastic. He was a fantastic singer, great loss. But since they reformed, they've done some really good albums, so I'm going to rank them all. I'm also going to include the EP Jar of Flies with Sap, because they came out as like one package, and I think there's like 11 tracks on there, so I count that as an album, to be honest with you. So I will be putting that in the ranking, not the live albums, or live album should I say, the unplugged one. But yeah, a decent few to be going on with. So I'm going to start off with my least favourite. I do love all of their albums. There's not for me, there's not a bad album amongst them. But my least favourite is their most recent one, which is Rainier Fog, from 2018. So I'm counting this as their 7th studio album. It's a good one. So a lot of good tracks on here. That's the inside as well. They say formed in Seattle. There's the mount in Seattle, the volcano, should I say, Mount Rainier. I think that's what the album was named after. I scored this one a 3.7 when I've ranked all the tracks and averaged them out. That's what I come out with. Each track's sort of scored out of 5, and then so I add it all up, divide by the amount of tracks, and that's how I get my album rankings. So yeah, 3.7 on this one. Say a lot of good ones on there. The lineup's Jerry Cantrell, William Duval, Mike Inez, and Sean Kinney on drums. My favourite tracks on here, the title track I do enjoy, Red Giant I really like, Drone I think is a really good one, Deaf Ears, Blind Eyes I think is a really good one also. Probably my favourite one is So Far Under, which is written by William Duval, and he does most of the lead vocals on it and the guitar solo, I believe. But yeah, some really good harmonies, really good album. Not their strongest album, so hence why it's at number 7, but still gets you know, a good thumbs up from me. Do enjoy the album a lot, but definitely the one I prefer least. My next favourite one is their 5th studio album, which was their comeback one in 2009, Black Gives Way to Blue. Yeah, lots to like about this album. Some really strong tracks on it. Check My Brain is, you know, the single I think is probably my favourite one. Looking in View's really good. Lesson Learned I really like. Your Decision is a really good one. Private Hell's not bad. So yeah, Acid Bubble, a good one as well. Some really good ones. This scores a 3.81, and it's their 5th studio album, their first one with William Duval on co-lead vocals and rhythm guitar. But yeah, once again, great harmonies, really good Alice in Chains album. There was some, you know, obviously with the long hiatus, Jerry Cantrell did a couple of solo albums, and they've all done a few bits with other people. There was some trepidation on, you know, how it would turn out, but I for one, I'm glad they did return and put together an absolutely superb album with this one. So it's at my number 6, but still very enjoyable. Yeah, Check My Head is, you know, Check My Brain, sorry, is really good. It would stand up against any of their early tracks, so well worth checking out. Really good album. Give it a few listens to, you know, let it sink in, but yeah, definitely very good indeed. My number 5 is their 4th studio album, 1995's Alice in Chains. Some people call it Tripod. It's got the 3-legged dog and the 3-legged man. This one came out in 1995. Slightly higher score, this one, for 3.83, so only marginally higher. I think it does tail off. It's a very dark, kind of yeah, I mean, none of their albums are like cheery, but this one's particularly dark. Um, does the first sort of 5 tracks I think are probably the best, and it does tail off a bit. So you've got Grind, Brush Away, Sludge Factory is really good. Heaven Beside You's a bit of a lighter one, but still nice. And Head Creep's probably one of the best tracks on here. Shame on You. Goddamn I quite enjoy as well. Frogs is a longer one towards the end of the album, which is pretty decent, but I can remember being pretty disappointed with this one when it came out, because, you know, off the back of Facelift and Dirt, and it's different. It's I don't know if it's less melodic. It is a bit less melodic, but it's a grind. It's, you know, quite a long album as well, over an hour, and it's kind of quite hard going. It is the sound of a band, a troubled band, shall we say. But yeah, it takes a few spins, and I haven't listened to it for ages, and recently came back to it, and still didn't particularly enjoy it, and then gave it a few more spins, and yeah, it is a good album, you know, but it's you know, it is good, but it does take a while, and it's quite difficult to get into. But yeah, probably their heaviest album. But that's my number 5, Alice in Chains from 1995. Bit of change in direction for my number 4, which I've gone for Jar of Flies, with Sap on it as well. So that's like a 2-disc thing with both the EPs. Sap's definitely the weaker of the two. Jar of Flies is pretty strong. This is to say, I'm counting this as their 3rd album, because it came out, well, Jar of Flies came out between, well, it came out after Dirt. 1994, scored this one a 3.85, so once again slightly higher. This is the first one with Mikey Nez on bass. He joined just before this. And yeah, it's a departure, because it's more acoustic. It's a lot of like lighter tracks, if you like. But yeah, it's got some really strong tracks on it, hence it being my number 4. Very enjoyable listen. Nutshells, the second track, that's really good. I Stay Away, I really like. No Excuses is a really good one. I think that was the sort of single off of it. Rotten Apple to start off with is very good as well. There's a couple of weaker ones. Swing on This, the last track, I'm not overly keen on. It's a bit weird. Whale and Wasp is an instrumental. But yeah, it's yeah, well worth checking out. So I'm including it in the ranking. Mini album they call it. But yeah, 2 CDs from 1994. My number 4 with a 3.85. My number 3 is their 6th studio album, and that is Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. Second one with William Duval doing the vocals. Obviously shares vocals with Jerry Cantrell. When I was doing my ranking, I do my rankings on like Rate Your Music, and a lot of people just slate this album, man. I don't really know what their problem is, quite honestly, because I think this is excellent. This is my number 3, came out in 2013. I scored this a 3.87, so they're all pretty close in score, apart from the top 2, which are, you know, up there. Lots of really cool tracks on this one. Pretty Done, I really like. Stone is fantastic. Voices is a really cool, like, catchy track. Lab Monkey I like. Low Ceiling I think is good. Breath on the Window is really good. Phantom Limb, I think Duval's, that's one of his tracks as well. That's a like really enjoyable one. For me, this is the most complete of the more recent, the sort of second phase of Alice in Chains. For me, I think this is their best one. It's the most like consistent all the way through. It's got the best tracks on it. Just a really strong album, I think. Heavy in the right places, a few lighter ones as well. Well worth checking out. Let's say it's not had brilliant like reviews on a lot of the sites I've seen, but I don't get it, quite honestly. This is by far for me the strongest one, say the most consistent one all the way through. So really good album. Number 3, Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, 6th album from 2013. Check it out if you haven't done already. Really good album. My number 2 is their debut album, Facelift from 1990. Michael Starr on bass on this one. The original bassist, he had his own drug problems. I think he passed in, I'm going to say 1996, but correct me if I'm wrong on that one. This is a excellent album. Some of their best tracks on this one. It's a bit of a lighter tone as well, with some of the tracks, not all of them. There's just a couple that, like, for me, let it down. Put You Down and I Know Something About You, probably the weak ones on here. But it's got, yeah, We Die Young, Man in the Box, fantastic. Sea of Sorrows, fantastic. I Can't Remember, Love Hate Love is one of their best tracks ever. Sunshine, I really like the chorus on Sunshine. Some of the harmonies on here are amazing. Confusion's a brilliant track. So yeah, not top to the bottom, like fantastic tracks to say. There are a couple which are, you know, not as great, but yeah, superb album. If it was more consistent without those two, it'd probably be closest to number 1. I rate this as a 4. So it came out in 1990. Excellent album. Yeah, say a bit more cheery than some of their other ones, but still, you know, it's not exactly Seasons in the Sun or anything. But yeah, superb album. Facelift from 1990, their debut album. Really strong debut from, you know, one of the best debuts from a band. That's my number 2. And you can probably guess what's number 1. Predictably, it is their second album, Dirt, from 1992. Michael Starr on bass once again. I scored this one at 4.25. And yeah, stunning album. Most people, if they've heard Alice in Chains, they would have heard this album. First 3 tracks, Them Bones, Damn That River, Rain When I Die, all like superb. Sick Man, probably one of my least favourite ones on here. Rooster is amazing. Junkhead's good track. Dirt is an amazing track. Down in a Hole is another 5 out of 5 track. Really like emotional, really good track. I say probably their most famous album for a reason. I, you know, went into it like doing this ranking thinking, you know, is it going to be number 1? Is it going to be number 1? And then you listen to it, you rank all the tracks, and you're just like, well, yeah, unfortunately. Well, you know, not unfortunately. You try and be a little bit different, but there's no denying this is the number 1 album from Alice in Chains, scoring 4.25, and that's 1992's Dirt. So yeah, that's the pinnacle. They didn't really get any better than that. But say all their albums, because the range is from like 4.25 down to 3.7 for the worst, so they're all, like, you know, well worth a listen. Really strong discography. They've not done a bad album in my opinion. And yeah, so that's my Alice in Chains ranking, and I hope you enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments below if you agree with my choices. Let me know what your rankings are, and I will catch you next time for another video. Please like and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Take it steady. Bye bye.